Hello, everyone, and welcome to our campaign wrap-up conversation for Campaign 2 of the Gilded City, The Lost Kingdom. We are excited to talk about this campaign with you all 61 episodes of it, longer than the first campaign. So we're very excited to be here. And I will just start us off. I know this was a long, meandering journey throughout Ravenloft. I thought you all did an incredible job over the course of this campaign. And I just want to ask everyone, what was your favorite part of the campaign?
Well, I should have been prepared for that question.
Yeah.
I mean, I really did like how I really like the whole arc with Diesel. Like that was really, really fun. And I think playing Bowmin during that time where he didn't really know his two worlds of his current it's like, your one friend group meets your other friend group kind of guides where it was kind of fun to play that line of just like, oh, Bowmin has a lot of very bad things that he did in his past, and here's somebody that knows about all of it. How is he going to tiptoe around all this stuff while also trying to better the world that he's in? I really like that part.
Yeah. Well, I'm good. I'm glad you enjoyed the Bowmin arc.
10 out of 10.
While other people are thinking, I will just say my favorite part as a DM was your initial arrival in Oikos. And the reason for that is I have been working on Oikos since like the middle of campaign 1. So it was fun to finally unveil that for you.
Big ass city.
It's a big ass city. It's very pretty city that's now gone. But that's fine. The people survived, which is the important part. I think that's my other favorite part, by the way, is that you guys did something that I think very, very few adventuring parties actually get a chance to do, which is like save a bunch of refugees. Like that doesn't come up super often in D&D, I feel like. So it was a pretty cool opportunity to give you guys the chance to do that, and I'm very proud of the decision you all made. I think it was the correct one.
Nice.
So, yeah. Like morally, I think it was the correct one.
I think it was really fleshed out in season 1 that our characters are really just all for the betterment of the general population more than our benefiting ourselves more than anything.
Right.
So it was fun to really show that off.
Anyway, other people's favorite parts.
I loved going. Oh, go ahead.
Oh. Who?
Eva,
You?
go. Eva, go.
I loved going to all the different areas, especially as someone who loves like the spooky and supernatural and things like that. Like getting to hang with ghosts and creepy carnival and zombies and all the fun, creepy horror stuff. I just had so much fun with that.
Yeah. Right. I enjoyed
Forgotten about the carnival.
those places.
I loved creepy carnival.
Speaking of the carnival, if anything comes to Torel, I want it to be the carnival. All right. I don't think I really played this off well as Bowmin because Bowmin's a very active character. Bowmin, in my mind, had a huge crush as the carnival.
Oh, you had a huge. I know Bowmin had a huge crush on the Isolde, I think is her name. Yeah, I'm well aware that Bowmin had a crush on her.
Bowmin's attracted to powerful women. All right.
Yeah. Hey, it makes sense. All right, who else had a favorite part that they want to share?
The carnival was really good. I liked the aftermath of the carnival. Bowmin being quote unquote sacrificed, running through the woods. And then like the first time that like we did not see that coming of after we kill the witch hag coming back and just being like, oh no, everyone's dead. Look what you did. Well, I think the first like, oh fuck, we're not just big damn heroes moment we'd had in a while. But I will say my favorite was the ghost wedding. There's something about it that just it went really well. And it was weird and quirky in the best kinds of ways, but it was still like a happy-ish ending.
Yeah.
I like the ghost wedding.
Ghost wedding was fun. I like that too. Yeah.
I think
And still in my inventory, I have a lot of things from that house.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were bad parents.
Yeah, I think my favorite part was, and I'm sorry because I'm really shit at names and I don't take notes because I'm bad at it. But like the what was it, the dragon, and then Fearing? Was that
Fearin, yeah. The dragon and Fearin.
Like that whole reveal thing, that was pretty sweet. Like, I feel like if I was paying more attention, maybe we would have seen it earlier, but I don't take notes.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed that too. Fearin Zalhonen and his alter ego Aslan Rex are one of the most famous Ravenloft characters in the history of D&D. So it was fun.
Clearly, we don't know.
No, and that's fine.
Very well.
I didn't really know that before I started doing sort of my background work for this campaign, but I was excited to kind of loop that in and yeah, build up to that moment where it was revealed the guy you were working for is the guy who used to own this castle. That was really fun to do.
I remember that part very vividly in my mind, where like it was revealed by talking to the dragon.
Yeah.
At that point, and I remember in Sam's brain was like, no, that couldn't be. No. We wouldn't be working for the bad guy. For the bad guy.
That's why he wanted the spellbook back so bad.
Talking down the dragon was pretty fun.
Yeah. You guys did that very well. I mean, again, there was a situation where it's like, well, the dragon's not going to waste the energy trying to kill you if he doesn't have to.
Right.
So give him a reason not to, kind of, So, and you said the exact right thing. You said who you were working for, and the dragon was immediately like, oh, y'all are chill. Cool.
I think it was really great that we went just directly to his lair too, instead of having to deal with all of his children first.
Absolutely.
Also,
saved you guys a lot of work.
You gotta love a good father figure in D&D.
Yeah, he's there for his kids. He's there for his kids.
He's there for his kids.
He's there for his kids.
Unlike Fear Kindler, that basically sacrifices his daughter in season 1.
He's got other kids. It's fine.
Oh yeah.
Whoops. I didn't say that. Hey, Zuzu and Kelly, what were your favorite parts of the campaign?
This is gonna be a surprise, but I loved Candlekeep. I liked the library. I wonder why. I was a big fan. And was that not the weird cult spaceship?
Yes.
Yes,
it
it was.
Yeah, that was super fun.
Yeah, that was.
I was just looking through my notes on that, and I was like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we did that.
That was from the Candlekeep Mysteries book, and I just slotted it in because it was level appropriate and seemed fun, and it ended up being a lot of fun. So
it was so weird. The fact that they all named each other barnyard animals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird.
That was a funny one.
My favorite part was the body swap. I really enjoyed playing Jinarra. I thought that was fun to like take a little moment and be somebody else, and then also watch Sam try to play Nyx. Just kind of, it was kind of like a mini. I guess, just over halfway through everything. Looking at the session numbers, but yeah, I thought it was fun. We were fighting another weird cult thing, in the mines. It was a good, like, all right, fine, guys, here's your silly little adventure in each other's bodies. Go.
I'm glad you liked it because it was fucking work.
I liked the body swap theme, but it got kind of old after like the second episode of being in a different body. It'd be like, I just want to hit something really hard.
I just didn't remember who anyone fucking was.
Yeah, it was hard. It was hard. It was a lot of fucking work. It was hard. But I'm glad you enjoyed it.
And I kept doing a cowboy accent for Bowmin.
Yeah, that's true too. That's true
Can we
too.
talk about what Artemis left in Bowman's pockets?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Artemis leave.
One second. Let me pull up my.
So much shit.
Oh my goodness.
All right, it's loading. Inventory. Scrolling down. All right. Pornographic drawings - it's very graphic.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's really it. But
There was like 12 pounds of rocks.
yes, that's
Like in your
several heavy rocks from the spooky mine.
yeah.
Spooky mine?
Yeah. But
I did have a lot of fun. My inventory is filled with lots of things. I mean, we know that it's Alfonso Alexander's monogrammed undies. I still have 3.
Of course.
Of those left. Big ass jar for moths. That's in my inventory. All the soaps imaginable. A letter from a devil that we never translated. It's in Infernal.
Wait, I can speak No, I can speak Abyssal now.
I can comprehend languages.
Yeah, we could do it now, but
yeah, you could do it now.
Yeah.
And I still have 91 signed copies of the Brightshield Boys' first album.
Oh
oh
You
hell,
didn't pass
Well,
those out
don't worry. Your
previously?
distributor's been selling them, like hotcakes.
Yeah, I just brought 100, so I got rid of 9.
Yeah, that's true. You got rid of 9. In a place that doesn't have any record players, so.
Yeah.
but when they get them,
But when they get them, they're in for a treat.
I do imagine when all the refugees from Oikos came to Torel on Artemis's property, at some point he did hand out goodie bags that did contain his big record.
Yeah, that's right.
Several
100%. And all the work he did of like instilling confidence kind of took a step backwards. Everyone went, what? Who the
This
fuck
is supposed to be our king? Question mark?
there he
Not
is.
really, but the guy who was in the job for the last few days.
It's like if like Justin Timberlake came back and he was like, hey guys, so I have 50,000 refugees.
Oh no, this is going
I
to
don't think it
ruin
would
the
go
tour. All right, I asked the first question. Who wants to talk about something else?
I have a question for everyone.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about this earlier, and I have my answers. But for each of your characters, I want to know, what does your character regret? Doing or not doing? What are their regrets? When they, in their old age, look back on their in tandem time.
Good question.
I think Nyx regrets not like saving more people from the like realms that end up disappearing. Because like I remember one of the things I was talking to Ben about before we started season 2 was like, oh, if we're going here and like all of the realm, like these people didn't choose to go to Ravenloft, like they didn't choose to be here. They don't know that they're in a place where, or they don't know that they have a choice to be in a place where bad things don't happen. Or like, I guess bad things happen everywhere, but like spooky stuff doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah.
And like that was going to be Nyx's driving motivation throughout all of this, was to get people back to Taldore and
Taldore.
not Taldore. Hang on.
We're not. This isn't Critical Role. This is
Taldore.
Back home. My
Fish.
brain is mush.
Our
I can't
world.
remember. Our world.
We're currently watching season 3 of The Legend of Vox
Yes.
Machina. So
So I just like, I think Nyx is gonna regret not trying to convince more people to like come with them. I don't think she really has a plan of how that would have worked, but
sure.
yeah.
This isn't from season 1, although we touched upon it a little bit, but I think Jinarra is probably always going to regret not saving more people when Fear Kindler attacked.
Mm.
And I think as we go into season 3, we'll see that more. But I think even though she's not being preyed upon anymore, so she's not getting stuck in those horrible nightmares she was having, I think she still probably has some version of PTSD from what happened in that attack. And I think it's going to probably at times make her not really think too clearly when it comes to tackling the next task at hand.
Yeah, those dreams were scary.
Those
Scary.
scary, but I also think to an extent there's probably almost some, this might sound really weird, almost some like comfort in being stuck in that mindset if you're really beating yourself up over what's happening. And it's not a comfortable place to be, but it's also a place that makes sense in a way. So even though she's not being preyed upon, I also would imagine she's probably still dealt with some form of nightmares. They're just now more self-inflicted and not to the same extent as
they're mundane nightmares.
Yeah.
They're like regular trauma nightmares instead of
Sure.
Yeah,
Next
as we
level.
all know.
As we
Regular
all
trauma.
have.
Yeah.
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 Special shout out to the fucking Raven Queen appearing.
Holy shit. Okay,
Yeah,
one of my favorite
That was
parts.
cool.
That was sick.
Yeah.
That was
I-
really cool.
Cannot believe
I can't believe it
you
worked.
succeeded on a divine intervention roll.
That was
And
insane.
I do think, like, I just to be completely honest, based on like the timing of when that happened in the episode, because I was planning on like starting the combat, letting things go for a little bit, you guys would be like still flailing because you haven't figured out the trick of the combat yet. And because the actual setup for the combat, right, was it was actually a puzzle. There was a puzzle you had to solve in order to defeat this dream fear kindler.
Owlbear.
It was not Owlbear. It was not Owlbear. But there, it was a puzzle you had to solve to defeat the dream fear kindler. And like, if you died, you would have just kept coming back over and over again until you figured out the puzzle. I wasn't going to run the combat that long. I was just planning on running it for like a round or two because we were pretty near the end of our time at that point. And then Kyra rolls the fucking divine intervention. And I was like, well, honestly, this is just a good out for the combat. So I just had the Raven Queen appear. I think that, like, if you had succeeded on a divine intervention in the future, it maybe would have been a less extreme divine intervention, but it just kind of worked out, like, gameplay-wise, it made sense, story-wise, it made kind of sense, because you know, Elina had been sort of, you know, talking about her relationship with the Raven Queen, and this was a good, like, representation of that, immediately going into Elina's big moment in the campaign. So it made sense to just have her show up. But yeah, that was a fucking clutch divine intervention roll. That was crazy.
I could not believe when I looked at my dice and it was like, what, like a 6 or something?
Yeah, it was something like that. We've got the picture somewhere in the group chat, but
Yeah.
That moment was when, so going through all of this, Artemis had been, you know, the Silver Flame was this thing. It was another guy off somewhere. I think that was the moment he actually, like, finally understood what godhood meant. Like, oh, you could actually be this big ass thing with clear power. And then that was just solidified having Alina's arc being next. That I think,
yeah,
like all of our other things, everyone claimed they were gods or were about to be gods, but they were still killable.
Yeah.
But like if you were to throw him at the Raven Queen, it'd be like, oh, obviously I can't touch this.
Right.
That was just a big old moment for him in realizing that, like, oh, I've made a contract not with just like some dude, like my dad's neighbor, my dad's friend, who like he kind of owed a debt to or something. Like, no, this is a bigger thing.
Yeah, thanks to Critical Role Campaign 1, the Raven Queen's one of my favorite D&D gods anyway, so she's cool as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other regrets that Matt was asking about? Who else had regrets they wanted to share?
Well, Matt, you said you knew yours.
Yeah, Artie has 3. Artie, I mean, obviously. So the
Rosalind.
first one, the first regret, is that Oikos couldn't be saved, like the city itself. He wanted so badly to pick up that city and plop it down back where it came from. But the fact that it was disappearing and the logistics did not work out, and putting a fully fortified city in the no man's land between two tense nations
Yeah.
just would not have been a good idea. Because I think he felt this, like he understood Dagran's desire to like, no, we are supposed to do this thing, right? We are supposed to be kings, princes. And it feels a bit like a failure.
Yeah.
And to an extent, he wasn't ever going to actually act on it, but letting half of the Oikosian population go felt like a failure as well. Because shoving them out to God knows what in a world that may or may not be, I mean, in the middle of its own war, have a natural disaster, like anything, and they just have nothing. They're on their own. Feels like an absolute like lying to them and be like, I'm gonna save you and then kick you out of your home because your home is disappearing. He's gonna have a big guilt complex about that for a long time.
Yeah.
What's his other little regret? Oh, he got used to being in charge. At the very end, Artemis regrets that he is not a king. 100%.
Yeah.
Like that, I think that's why he jumped so quickly at the very end when the president was like, "No, I hate you, and you follow my orders, and I'm mad at you." And why instantly he was just having none of it because he had just come from a place where everyone, oh, Lord Brightshield, this, Scion of the Silver, oh, blah blah blah. Spit on me as you walk by, please.
Yeah.
Like, it's Artemis Brightshield. That inflated his fucking ego. He loved it.
I'm so glad it did because that was in fact my intention. But
it was incredible. And then for him to come back and be reminded of like, no, you're not even like, your royalty doesn't exist. On several levels, your royalty doesn't exist. That I think another one of my things is what happens next in like future plans, even though we have a campaign 3. That is Artemis's quiet goal is to become king again. And not repeat some problems, but like gain his power back.
Yeah.
Which we'll see. Could be bad.
Could be bad. Could be bad. Hey, you know, who knows?
Could be bad.
Thaddeus Wolf is also just a fucking dick, and he's always been a dick in the lore.
Pretty rough.
So I'm glad you guys got to meet this guy.
Pretty rough. And I'm sorry, but regret number 3 in the back of my mind, and it's still not over. There's still a chance, but Artie's not letting go of Rose Wilmington. It's in the back of his mind, 100%.
Okay, all right.
Once he feels that he has grown up enough, he's gonna go back and ask for an honest to God date.
All right.
At least he's waiting until he's matured and he's
Yeah.
grown up.
Okay.
Yeah, he knows he's gonna because he knows that she can call him on his shit
Not that
and
into.
bullshit, and he's like,
For our viewers, this has actually been a subject of debate behind the scenes, which is, what is Rose Wilmington's sexuality? And you know what? I'm just gonna call it now. I'm gonna call a vote.
we're deciding someone else's sexuality.
So as the DM, I haven't made this decision yet. So
Isn't it Matt's character?
It is Matt's character. Matt made him. Matt
Matt-
made Rose. But
Matt-
no, we're voting.
Yeah.
We're
Matt
voting.
made Rose Wilmington and then handed her to me as this is an NPC for my backstory, and then I created the rest of her from there. So anyway, I'm gonna put it to a vote. I'm just calling it now. So you've got I mean, there's more than 3 options, but we'll say 3 options.
There's
right?
only 3 sexualities. Have you heard it here, folks?
Like and
Straight,
subscribe.
straight is option 1. Bi/pan is option 2, and lesbian is option 3. And Artemis was the last man she slept with before she realized she didn't like men. So that's option 3. Just real quick, raise your hand if you think Rose Wilmington should be straight.
Wife her up.
All right, we got 1 vote for straight.
Oh.
All right, let's see. Raise your hand if you think Rose Wilmington should be bi/pan.
Can I vote?
Wow.
You know
Okay,
what?
1, 2, 2.
Yeah.
We got 1 vote for straight, 2 votes for bi/pan. And raise your hand if you think she should be a lesbian.
In the voice of Bowmin, no daughter of mine will ever date a man.
All right, that's 2 votes for lesbian. Zuzu, you didn't vote.
I think Rose Wilmington should be dead. So that's my personal
Okay.
opinion.
Well,
I can't stand that.
by the way it broke down, there is a tie between bi/pan and
I think that means pan.
lesbian. So I think that means that being bi/pan wins because there was 1 vote for being straight. So Artemis, there's a chance. There's a chance.
Everything
feel
ever.
like in my brain, probably because Zuzu is so anti Rose Wilmington, that in my brain I'm like, oh, but Rose likes Penny.
Oh, 100%.
I think Rose just really is like, I don't understand why someone wouldn't like me because I'm perfect. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's what Rose is like. So she's like, I just want to be friends. But Penny doesn't want that.
Okay, can we just talk about the timeline of things? She dated Artemis, broke up with Artemis, had one night stand, saw him again, and then
As
immediately
he was breaking into her parents' house.
That was
immediately
crazy.
got buff, and then went out to find herself in the world.
Did she get the bisexual Bob?
She did get the bisexual Bob.
Many such cases.
Many such cases. Many such cases.
Other regrets.
Anyway,
even if she
Wilmington is a regret.
So there we go. Those are Artemis's regrets, and he's gonna try again with Rose
When he thinks he's ready.
when he thinks he's ready.
Penny having to go to a Rose and Artemis wedding would actually make her brain explode.
I don't think she'd go.
No, well, I don't know. Maybe she'd be working.
Oh my god.
That's the only reason why
Oh, I'd love to go, but I can't. I'm busy.
Hers got me working.
I'm so sorry.
No, she would absolutely go to a wedding. She would just be rolling her eyes every time Bowman's crying.
Oh, and Bowmin would be sobbing.
Oh, he'd be
Those
crying.
are his two kids, all right?
I know.
They love each other for some reason.
It's a weird position for you to be in.
Yeah.
This is an odd little position.
When your kids get married to each other. That is weird.
If they do it differently back in Cormier.
All right, who else has regrets that they want to talk about?
No.
As for regrets for Bowmin doesn't have a whole lot to regret besides not doing more damage to that general
General Dracoff, yeah.
Yeah, General Jackoff. Because man, as somebody like, I don't know about you guys, but when you're playing the character, you and when I'm playing Bowmin, I have to I'm thinking of oh, this is one of the things that Bowmin gets really upset about.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
He had huge regret of losing Diesel back in Cormier and finding them again, to find them basically half dead. That was a big thing. So I think Bowmin regrets not doing more damage to her.
Yeah.
Secondly, Bowmin does regret not getting Diesel back, not bringing them back to Torel. And
yeah,
I think it's kind of he understands that it's not his choice, but he just goes but if it was my choice, I would do it over and over again and get them back.
And, it was on the table for Diesel to want to travel with you guys until you got back home. But I think based on the way you all handled things in Falkovnia, they really felt like they needed to stay and help the people.
Yeah.
As best they could.
I will say also, the one thing that I think never got fully resolved is the argument between Artie and Bowmin after the fallout of Falkovnia. And I think Bowmin is just when is the shoe going to drop?
Yeah, that all got interrupted by the caller showing up.
Yeah.
It did, but at the same time, I think Artemis realized that he needed to shut up and focus.
Yep.
That was him processing aloud and lashing out at I don't want to be in charge of things. Right? I don't like all this pressure. My dad always said, put this pressure on me, and I could run away, and I can't run away anymore.
Yeah.
And so if we're going to do this, we're going to be the heroes that we're supposed to be, right? We're supposed to be the good guys on the big shining white horses, and everything's supposed to end up right. Because that's all the stories of what Dad always told me, is these knights were these picturesque Arthurian legends like everything was wonderful. And it was this hard, like growing up realization that they kind of scuffled a little bit about Artie and Bowmin, but at the same time, like I think like Artemis, all the jokes aside about like picking on Bowmin, very much Bowmin is new dad. 100%. And so this was him lashing out and saying, like, Dad, your stories aren't real. Like, we're supposed to be able to always like be these heroes, and here you are not being a hero. Like, what the fuck is that about?
Yeah. I think this was a little bit in season 1, and it kind of overflowed into season 2. Bowman's whole thing dynamic with Artie was to show Artie the world isn't as polished as you want it to be, and you really need to bring it down a little bit. Because because if you think you're gonna save everybody, you're probably not gonna save anybody at all.
Yeah.
And I think that was, especially after the carnival, that whole part of it too, like the realization of just like, oh, killing that one person that was trying to kill us actually killed more people than the 6 of us. So
yeah, I mean, you know, hats off to all of you, obviously, but hats off to you, Sam, for your role playing as Bowmin was inspirational to watch. It was really good. Yeah. But hats off to everybody. Everybody did a good job with their characters. I just really want to shout out Sam. I really, really loved what you did with Bowmin this season. So
it will be sad when he dies from fear kindler.
Don't worry, Artemis now can resurrect people.
That's true.
That's true.
That's true.
Bowman's just trying to die of old age, but Artie won't let him leave.
I have thought about that.
Resurrection spells actually don't work if you die of natural causes. I want to be clear. So it does specifically say that in the text of the spell.
Artie purposely kills Bowmin
before any of
seconds before he dies of old age. Yeah.
You're also like completely burned to dust by a dragon.
That's natural.
Yeah.
That's a pretty high level resurrection spell, but it can be undone by resurrection magic. I think you need true resurrection for it, which is a 9th level spell, but it is technically doable.
I'd find Elina.
Yeah, we could just get Elina.
Yeah,
back.
go track Elina down.
Yeah, Alina's got it, right?
She's not busy with anything, right?
She was just waiting for us the entire time.
Yeah, no, she's just sitting by her fire, sipping a cup of tea, waiting for you guys to call.
That's right.
He's hollowed out Strahd's skull and is drinking.
I had to give a shout out at least to Strahd, who is the origin of Ravenloft as a setting. So,
and D&D's biggest simp.
He's oh my god, what a simp that guy is. Jesus Christ, dog. Like she said no, dude. Like
I have a question for Ben.
Yes.
Is there anything that we like didn't discover that you really wish we would have?
That's a great question.
What did we miss?
That's a great question. What did you miss?
Pulls up the missing sheet.
So I mean, you know, just like off the top of my dome, first thing, right? I mean, I did make an entire like massive dungeon for that floating castle, right? You skipped a lot of rooms, so you missed out on a lot of potential loot. I don't necessarily feel bad about that. You know, you got to what you got to. I never expected you to go explore every single room of that dungeon. But I think that's kind of like the first thing that comes to my mind is, you know, there's a lot of nooks and crannies and places to go in that dungeon. There was actually there was a chance for you to meet the ghost of Firan Zalhonen's kid.
Ooh.
Which, if you remember from finding like the journals, there had been a lot of tension between the Sun and Firen Zelhonen / Azalin Rex. So I would have liked, I think it would have been cool to see what that conversation would have been like, the conversation between you guys and this ghost, but I'm not like disappointed that you guys didn't see that. I don't think there's really anything that I'm disappointed you guys didn't see. I feel like all the stuff you missed is stuff that I was fine with you missing. You know, I wanted to do a Ravenloft campaign when I read Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. When that book came out and I looked at it and I read through it and I was like, this is dope as hell. I want to do a campaign that visits a couple of these places. And you guys visited a couple of those places, so I can't complain. I feel pretty good about it. So yeah, I mean, you know, there were secrets you guys missed. Obviously, you know, there were things you didn't uncover. Like, you didn't uncover really what the deal was with the carnival. You know, you didn't really, like, after you solved the body swap thing, you didn't dive much more into what else was going on in Lamortia. You're like, okay, we're back in our own bodies. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Eyes from each
Yeah,
other.
exactly. So, you know, obviously there were things you could have looked more into, but I didn't necessarily feel bad about you missing anything. I feel like you all hit all the cool shit. So
Wait, so
yeah.
what is the deal with the carnival then? Or will that take too long to explain?
No, I can explain it briefly. So Isolde, who's the elf who runs the carnival, she and she has that sword, that magic sword that the woman that Bowmin fell in love with. She's from the Feywild originally, and she ran a Fey carnival. And her Fey carnival ran into another carnival. And they made the other carnival that she ran into was a carnival from the Shadowfell / Ravenloft. And the carnival owners of the Shadowfell carnival and Isolde made a bet with each other where they would switch carnivals, and they'd only switch back if they ever ran back into each other. Now, the guys who were in charge of the Shadowfell carnival really do not want to ever run back into Isolde because they do not want to go back to Ravenloft. They are perfectly happy with their funky little Fey carnival. The other thing is Isolde is just a woman. The sword is the Dark Lord.
Oh, hell yeah.
The sword is a sentient weapon and is the Dark Lord of the carnival. And is obsessed with this like very stark black and white like form of justice. And because of that, and the fact that the collar had wronged Isolde in the past, has just led them further down this path of this very like vengeance, darkness, death, black and white justice like path. And really the only way to free Isolde from the grip of the sword would be to separate them, and that is not gonna happen if Isolde has anything to say about it. So yeah, I mean, there's other stuff with the sort of general backstory of the character related to you know, an archfey named Zybilna, and you know, some other stuff, but that's sort of the that's the deal with the carnival. So yeah. Thanks, Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft.
Now, knowing this, Bowmin really wants that sword.
Yeah, we didn't run into any other sentient weapons, did we?
Nope.
Were there others scattered around, or was that the only one?
That was the only one in this campaign, yeah. I mean, unless you count the Sword of Oikos, but the sword itself isn't really sentient. It's just the vessel of a separate sentience. But yeah, that was the only sentient weapon in this campaign. I do want to do more with sentient weapons at some point. It's just that, like, I never roll when I rolled randomly for treasure, I never rolled up a sentient weapon, and when I selected specific treasures for certain locations, it never, like, there was just never an opportunity where it's like, it would make sense for a sentient weapon to be here. So
the next campaign we all play sentient weapons, and the entire campaign is trying to convince the people that are wielding us to do the things that we want them to do.
Yeah. I have also seen that thread on Reddit.
I would play as like another character's sentient weapon for a little bit.
Or
if my character died, and then there was just another sentient weapon, I'd just play as that for a little bit.
just pair off as like the person wielding it and the weapon.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Just roll a dice at the top of the session and see who I'm gonna play.
All right, regrets, Penny and Elina.
Regret.
Oh yeah, I guess there's still a couple regrets we didn't get.
Did
Yeah,
Nyx
I'll say
say
yeah.
regret? Kelly didn't say
Nyx
regret.
did say a regret.
I was the first one. I regret not bringing more people back.
Yes, that's right.
I've been trying to think of it, and I just don't know.
Elina kind of got everything she wanted.
Left it all on the
She's
table.
kind of
She's
doing
kind
alright.
of golden.
I think maybe she like a little bit regrets not coming with you guys to like see everything through finally, but
Yeah.
like not enough to change what she would have done.
Yeah. Does Penny have any regrets?
My gut instinct was to say Penny regrets her attitude, but the more I thought on that, the more I thought, no, she doesn't.
Absolutely
Maybe
not.
she regret. I think one thing Penny maybe does regret is probably just like reaching out to her friends more when they're not doing well. But I feel like Penny thinks that's a Jinarra thing. I don't know.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Well, you know what I mean? Like, it's like if you're like, oh man, like your brother betrayed you. Oh, what you really need is Penny Presswell to stand there awkwardly and go, it's not your fault. I'm sorry. No, you don't need that. You need Jinarra to be like soul searching with you.
Who else has a question they want to ask?
I have a question for everyone. What was your character's biggest moment of growth, if you can pinpoint it to a moment? Or what did they learn to develop during their journey? So if you can pinpoint it to a moment, or what was one thing they had to learn?
And what was Penny's?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't answer the questions. I'd have to think about it.
You got to think about it.
I think when Nyx realized that the orrery was the only way for everybody to get home, she was like, oh, shit. I gotta find all this stuff and figure out how to put it together. Otherwise, we're stuck here. That's terrible. So I think that, like, there was I can't remember what the context was, but there was a moment where somebody was like, oh yeah, no, that won't actually get us all back. And I was like, oh, so I have the only thing that will get us all back. Okay, got it.
Was there ever a moment where you thought, oh, I could send everyone somewhere really funny? Did you ever think that you would have done that?
I don't think that it ever crossed my mind, like my mind, but I feel like Nyx definitely would have like thought about that. Been like, you know what? Artie's being really annoying. What if we just send him?
Time out.
Yeah. Because I could also, like, one of the things that the orrery has is there's some sort of banish thing that I can do. And I was like, well, I could send somebody there for a short period of time.
That would have been super funny.
Yeah.
Nyx's timeout room.
Yeah.
Nyx's timeout room.
Nyx's timeout realm.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was called, but there are things in here that I really wish we could have used, but
well, you'll still get a chance.
yeah.
But Nyx is like coming into that responsibility is your.
Yeah. For sure.
I think for Bowmin was the moment that Ben decided, you know what? Killing word. You know? Poof. Dead. And then I think
the only time I dropped one of you guys in this campaign because high-level adventures are hard as fuck to drop.
I know this probably wasn't like role played out, but Bowmin definitely had a sense of mortality in that moment. Because I think throughout season 1, and I think Jinarra was similar played to this, was like, we can get hit. Everyone else is our job so they don't get hit. Like you and I, we've talked about that. And I think at that point, Bowmin realized that, oh, everyone else is just as powerful as I am, and they can take hits. I just need to make sure that I'm still around to bring them back.
Yeah.
And I think at that point, Bowmin switched from a still tanky, less of a tank, and was actually a little bit more reserved on his divine smites throughout that.
I couldn't tell.
You didn't. Ben, I hate to say it, I didn't need a lot.
Oh my god!
Between Penny Presswell doing hundreds of damage in one turn, Nyx occasionally getting a sneak attack and a nat 20, and everyone else just being absolutely bizarre.
No, look, again,
sons.
High-level adventures are fucking crazy to run for you guys. I cannot stress this enough. High-level adventures are really, really difficult to run for.
But you did it beautifully.
I tried my best anyway.
Yeah, that's Bowman's turning point, character development.
Yeah.
I don't know about a particular moment. It was probably played out, as we were talking about earlier, with Artemis's illusion of the big damn heroes getting shattered. But there is a point near at the end where I think he consciously realized that he is no longer scared of Dagran. Because he was forever. And then there was a point, and during the final fight, now mostly it was the dice. But still, I think if it was Artemis and Dagran going at it, like, Dagran would, if he was still the paladin, that's a whole other thing. But, like, going at it, Artemis could survive. He might not win, but he knows he is a walking utility belt of tricks and escape plans.
Yeah.
Between, like, polymorph, or cutting words, or his reactions, or his crazy spells that he picked up watching everyone else and just kind of selecting the best of all of his friends and trying to cobble himself together into what he thinks a hero is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like, he realized at the end, like, he's not scared of Dagran, which is why he's like, yeah, I can bring this motherfucker back because I can take him down again if I need to.
Yeah.
Like, now the slate is clean. Like, I was scared of him for forever. He won the first couple fights, and then I won the last fight. If he wants to come back, he can do what he wants. If he wants to come back and stir shit up with me in 10, 20 years, fine. I'll be able to take him.
Yeah.
But I think he realized it about the same time that he was like, okay, now I'm the king and I'm not scared of anything. Like, he's no longer scared of Dagran.
Yeah.
And that opens up a whole new avenue for him.
It's great. Yeah.
Matt, were you always planning on saving Dagran and resurrecting him if he died?
That was always a little bit of the plan because Artie couldn't let himself go back down the same path that he saw Dagran doing. Like the fact that he was like, I have to kill him. I was always going to look for a way first to cure him of something before killing him. I debated for a long time. So one of the great strengths I think of a bard is like messing with people's free will. There are so many spells. Suggestion. I played with that a little bit, but throughout all of the leveling, like Artemis was never comfortable with manipulating other people's free will. He did it a couple times, but never to really hurt anyone.
Yeah.
Like it was like, I suggest you go fuck off and build a sandcastle for 8 hours. Like but there's a spell that changes someone's alignment. And in the back of my mind, I was curious about using that on Dagran. That was kind of the plan I had for a while. And when we get to him, and if he's not changing, force him to change. But then if he realized that like that's not the right move, he would. The spell also says they would realize it and be aware of what had happened, so it wouldn't actually solve anything.
Right.
But yeah, the plan was always to give Dagran a fair shot at redemption. And kind of full circle them back to now Artemis is the one with the purse strings. He's in charge of everything, and if Dagran asks for an allowance, then he doles it out, just like they were in the beginning.
Right.
But for now, and Dagran left, he's not getting anything because he cut ties. So Artemis is just sitting on that Oikosian fortune and Brightshield vintage.
Oh yeah, which by the way, we didn't get to it at the end there, but in the treasure that came back with you, because obviously all the wealth of Oikos didn't come back with you. But what came back with you was 42,000 gold pieces, 28,000 platinum pieces, a number of very high expense art pieces, and so yeah, I mean you've got a bunch, you got some money, you're good. But yeah.
And he's gonna blow it all trying to rebuild a fucking city.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Just run for Open Lord.
It's not
take over Waterdeep.
It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Great. Anybody else have a character growth moment they want to talk about?
I think Jinarra had two, and I think they go hand in hand. I think the first one is when she decided that she was going to leave Waterdeep in a potentially permanent way for one of her friends. And she did it for Artie, but I think she would have done it for any of her friends in the adventuring party. But leaving Waterdeep, I think, was a really big deal for her. And I actually even debated making a new character for this campaign because I just wanted Jinarra would like leave her city, but I decided that for someone she loves so much, she would. And I think the other moment was when she was really being plagued by the nightmares, and she realized that Artie was playing music for her at night to help her sleep a little bit better. And I think she really realized that one of her friends was really taking care of her back in a way that she just didn't really have growing up. And I think that was her other moment of shifting from like, these are my friends to like, these are really my family.
Yeah. And that was such a sweet thing that sort of bore out naturally over the course of the campaign. I really liked that.
Yeah, like I guess with Elina, I think it was more of like a slow burn type thing that she, like at the beginning, like was an outsider, kind of there to help because that's just kind of who she was, but also very much focused on like figuring her own stuff out, and like
Yeah.
when she heard stay with these people will get you to your ultimate goal, finding the book, that was all right, fine, I'll do that. I'll stick with this group for that goal. But I think throughout the course, like figured out that the group's goal and was like worth paying more attention to. And then when I think it was like the first dream where she was visited by her sister, like kind of realizing maybe I'm not gonna ever actually get her back, and living like this is just like focusing on the past, not the best course of action.
Yeah.
But still, like that's been the goal for a while, so letting that go was tough. And then like eventually getting the book and reading it and realizing, yeah, this is not actually going to happen like I had thought it would. Wasn't like as hard of a blow as I think it would have been if like she had found it on her own.
Yeah.
And like having that group to work with and like a separate thing to care about, I think was good.
Yeah.
Elina felt very like Gandalf, wise sage to this group.
She was pretty
like,
old.
She was pretty
yeah,
old.
that
She was
too. But
pretty
like
old.
had their own thing, had their own larger picture story. And then when we needed it, she was like, "Yay, okay, I'll show my magic. Like now I'll like cover you because you guys are doing the right thing.
Yeah.
I agree with what you're doing and I can help. All right." And then at the end, like, yeah, our paths separate. Go on your way, take the lessons I taught you, and don't fuck up.
On that comparison, I also just have to say some really fucking clutch spell choices at various points in the campaign for Elina. But of course, I am thinking particularly of the anti-magic field at the end. Because that totally invalidated the obelisk, which could do a bunch of nasty shit. And also all of the Golden Flames attacks were magic, so he couldn't even hit you. So that was clutch as hell. That was crazy.
Yeah, I was very worried that wasn't going to work because it's an area of effect, and like the obelisk was about the same size as the spell.
Yeah.
But
no, that was clutch as hell. That was really cool. But there were multiple moments in the campaign where Elina pulled out a spell and I was like, oh fuck, okay.
Loud.
That cleric spell list is nuts, y'all. That cleric spell list is pretty sick. Don't be sleeping on those clerics.
Hey friends, don't forget to thank your local clerics.
Don't forget to thank your local clerics. They're not just here for healing.
I do feel like as a cleric, I was like, because I haven't played one before, I was expecting a lot more like healing to come, like to use that a lot more. And I feel like I didn't do that as much because, well, like Artie had it and so did Bowmin, so it wasn't like a super necessity.
Right. Even Jinarra has a little bit of healing in a pinch.
Right.
So yeah.
Like a cleric level 5 gets trapped in being the healer often. But I think because you came in later and we had kind of we were built to go work without a cleric for so long.
Yeah.
That like you got to play the really fun stuff.
Yeah.
I would say Elina did come in several times with very clutch healing spells.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Made it so all of us didn't drop.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Penny, growth for you.
I think
Ain't it, bro?
I'm gonna go with No, but I do think that Penny did learn to be more trusting. I think a season 1 Penny versus a season 2 Penny is very different. Maybe not in terms of how she really acted, but like putting trust in others
Yeah.
to like do stuff with other people.
Yeah.
Like I feel like she wouldn't do that in Penny Presswell season 1 was just like sneaking off and doing things and not telling people.
Pretending like her house wasn't being foreclosed upon.
Being weird, yeah. Just
not
being,
accepting money from
Not
her
accepting money
friends.
from her friends.
but yeah.
Hiding the money in the shoe. Funniest thing.
I couldn't reach anything else.
Oh my god. That was
If I'm
amazing.
thinking of a specific moment though, probably the moment where she was like, and this was pretty late into, I feel like pretty late into season 2, when she was like, oh, okay, we're not in Waterdeep anymore. And like, this is actually really scary. And like, we could all die here and we could also never go back, was probably when she was manipulated by the caller, ghost for mom, to try to kill Artie.
I did like the moment between Penny, Elina, and Bowmin post the caller possessing Penny, being like, "Hey, it's not your fault. It's really not your fault. You need to let it go. It's not your fault."
Yeah.
But I feel like that was the moment she was like, oh, okay, this is like really, this isn't just like, hee hee, we're all in our little city and, you know, things are scary, but like, we'll get through it. Now it's like, oh,
Yeah.
there's a lot happening here. It's scary.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of, I spend a lot of time in this campaign fucking with Penny.
Is that
Did
because
you?
of my wisdom score?
Yes,
what
absolutely. That is actually why the caller chose you. Specifically
That's
is why the
actually
caller
a
chose
targeted
you.
attack, and that's
Yes, it was a targeted attack.
it is a hate crime.
Did you ever believe that it was actually Penny's mom?
I think
And was there a moment when you stopped believing?
the first time I thought it was like a ghost of Artie's mom because it was wasn't it at the manor?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought maybe it would be like someone related to the Brightshields, and I was
Yeah.
just for whatever reason in that scenario where like I saw it.
Yeah.
But then I thought the next time it happened, I thought, oh, maybe it could be my mom projecting. But then after that, I think I don't know. I think after that I figured out that it wouldn't have been. Specifically, mostly probably because when Elina swapped bodies and talked to it, and then afterwards was like, I don't know. I don't know about this.
Hey, that thing's sus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something's not right.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Anybody have any other questions they want to ask?
What are some character secrets that didn't come out? Does anyone have any?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Oh,
All right, Bowmin, hit us.
Oh no.
What'd you do?
okay. I'm only saying this because I'm pretty sure Bowmin, because next season's the last season, it's not gonna have to do anything with backstories and stuff like that. So whatever. Bowmin was essentially a war criminal.
It's fine. It's fine.
Like,
it's fine.
like
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
No, but he's our dad, so it's okay.
yeah, no, it's fine. Basically, Uncle Iroh from the Avatar.
Yeah. I want to be clear. I fucking love Uncle Iroh from Avatar: The Last Airbender. For sure, a war criminal. I want to be very clear. Before his big redemption moment, for sure, a war criminal.
So part
He
of
laid
Bowman's
siege to Ba Sing Se for 600 days.
part of Bowman's backstory is that he was part of the secret government organization called the Black Claw. And the whole thing about the Black Claw, well, it's based on Cormyr being founded by the Purple Dragon, which is originally a black dragon that turned purple.
Right.
I delved deep into the lore of Cormyr.
Yeah.
Bowman's was essentially the person that would rush in and interrogate people by any means necessary So like
CIA
Not-
Black Ops shit.
yeah, it was very fun. Diesel at one point said like, Bowmin, we did a lot of bad things. And I was like, oh, do I have to explain this but no one talked about it afterwards, so I'm so glad about that.
Because we all knew that you caused the war.
Okay. First of all, maybe.
Right. Well, that's the thing, because I did leave it ambiguous, specifically in some of those flashbacks where you remembered that night. I specifically described you didn't set the charges. You didn't have time to set the charges before you were caught, and the boat still exploded.
Bowmin specifically was the explosive expert in Black Claw, in the Operation Black Claw. And his whole thing was he was going to blow up that ship, but he just never got the chance to lay the explosives. So why did that happen?
Yeah.
So
I don't think it'll come up in the next campaign, so I'll just tell you, intentional sabotage by the Sword Coast Federation, so they had an excuse to declare war.
I think Bowmin figured that out at a very certain point, especially after the caller, said his old. So
yeah.
Any other secrets?
Artemis Brightshield wears lifts in his shoes.
Incredible.
If this were like a Tinder profile, he would say 6'1". No, he portrays 5'10", and he is 5'9" and very insecure about it. I thought that Zuzu, you would see it in the character sheet, and so I actually took it out when we swapped. But like there was a part of me that was like, if she were in the body, she would realize after a moment, if she ever took off his shoes, that there's something in there.
Luckily, Penny never took off any clothes.
But you never took off anything because you didn't want to see anything.
Penny literally held it the entire time.
Had a UTI, or already had a UTI.
Afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Artie just pounding cranberry juice.
Yeah.
Brings out a bottle of wine. It's not wine. It's cranberry juice.
Wine. It's cranberry juice. That's right.
I will say, disclaimer, here at the Rollers Guild, we do support our 5'9" kings. All right, we do
Shout
not.
Thank you.
Shout out to the 5'9" kings out there. Couldn't relate.
Can relate. This was a personal character piece.
I actually think there's a really big irony on this, because I was always small as a kid, and I'm not even that tall now as an adult, but I do think I have somehow ended up being the tallest person in this D&D group. And I also think I'm the tallest person in my college friend group. I don't know how that happened.
You just assemble hobbits around you.
I don't know how that happened.
You're taller than Sam?
Yeah, by a little. Not by much, but by a little bit.
Like an inch. I am 5'9" in the morning. And Ben, I think it's like 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah, 5'11" on a really good day.
Low atmospheric pressure.
Low atmospheric pressure.
Good night's sleep.
5'10" and change most of the time. Anyway.
So.
Any other character secrets anybody wants to share?
I don't really think this is a spoiler, because I have no idea what's going to happen in season 3, but I think in a way you probably wouldn't know it. I think Jinarra was actually trying to play it just a little bit safe while in Ravenloft, because she wanted to be able to like get back,
sure,
like to see her family and deal with Fear Kindler and stuff. But I really think this whole time Jinarra has not been expecting to necessarily make it out alive when she does meet Fear Kindler again. And I think she's like maybe not always thinking about that, but sort of like sort of without realizing it, prepping for that in advance. And I think she's been doing it through the whole season 2, and I don't think that's going to stop in season 3.
Yeah.
Guys, we need to check on Mom during the capstone.
Yeah.
Mom's gonna try to sacrifice herself, or Dad's gonna try to sacrifice himself.
They both probably will.
They
I'll
both
bring them
probably
back.
will.
They're conspiring together.
No, we haven't got that already.
Well, does anybody else have anything else they want to say or want to ask or anything like that?
Oh, I do have one question for the group. Did you plan your death scene?
No.
No.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
Artemis has a trick up his sleeve.
It's always an option. That's why you gotta be prepared. You gotta be prepared for your last words, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel like you don't expect to die though. So I'm playing it off the seat of my pants.
Yeah, that's valid as well. Yeah.
What was your
No,
you're probably like me, you have a couple death scenes, but what was your favorite that you would?
a couple, yeah, and I did end up using it finally once I got fairly confident that Artemis, knock on wood, can't really be killed because he has so many tricks up his sleeve.
Yeah.
And it is it's the phrase of looking whoever killed him dead in the eye and saying, "But you'll never shine as bright as a Brightshield."
Yeah. That's good. That's good.
Eva?
Get back to me at the season 3 recap.
There we go. There we go. There we go. Hey, well, you know what? Let me just say for my final thoughts here. First of all, real quick, we did talk about Dagran a little bit earlier. I do just want to quickly mention he wasn't possessed. He was never possessed. He just did what he thought he was supposed to do. What he thought he was.
Guy.
He just did what he thought he was raised to do.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Misguided.
It is sad. It's very sad. The Brightshield boys' dad was placed a lot of expectations on their shoulders, and unfortunately, Apollo Brightshield took advantage of that opening. I don't know if we're gonna see what happens with Dagran outside of any, end of capstone adventure, what happens next for the characters. But with that, let me also just tell our audience, whoever's sticking around to the end here, what to expect next from us. So we will not be immediately jumping back in with these characters. Everybody feels like they need a break because, it's been 61 episodes of them, and before that
3
another
years?
50 something episodes, so really 100 and something episodes of these characters, so everybody wants to take a little break. So Sam will be GMing a short campaign for us using a somewhat homebrewed version of the Kids on Bikes system. So we're really excited about that. You can expect that in a couple weeks or so. So keep an eye on the channel for that. And then after that, we will return to the Sword Coast to do a little short capstone adventure. I'm thinking 5 to 10 episodes. So we're not really a full season 3, but season 3 we'll call it. For the Gilded City crew for In Tandem. And we will see them up to level 20. We will resolve everything with your Kindler, so hold on tight. That'll be coming in the future. But I want to thank you all for watching and hanging out with us and seeing us to the end of this campaign. And we're looking forward to the further adventures to come. And also, I want to thank all of you guys on the call with me now. I've loved DMing for these characters. It has been fantastic creating these 2 campaigns to go through with this set of characters. It's been a lot of fun. I really fallen in love with all of your characters, and it's been so exciting going up to such a high level, even if it's also been a lot of work on the DM side of things. But it's been fun. So thank you all for playing. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. Have a good night, everybody.